You do admit, sir, that Pakistan has had a long history of backing and supporting and training and funding these terrorist organizations.
Well, we have been doing this dirty work for United States for about 3 decades, and West, including Britain.
Boom! And just like that, Pakistan's defense minister, Khawaja Mohammed Asif, last Thursday destroyed multiple decades worth of carefully cultivated public ignorance about the origin and nature of terrorism in Pakistan and Central Asia. Now, obviously, for those of us with even a passing understanding of Cold War history, it's not news that the US government had used Pakistan's security forces and territory to incubate, train, and equip Islamist militants who were successfully used as a proxy to push the Soviets out of Afghanistan. What this interview revealed, however, was that following last week's deadly terror attacks in Kashmir had left 26 Indian civilians dead and resulted in immediate escalation from India, including stopping the flow of Indus River water to Pakistan. Pakistan does not want the smoke. The defense minister was very on the nose about who India should ultimately blame for the attack.
When we were fighting the war on their side, way back in the 80s against Soviet Union, all these terrorists of today, they were whining and dining in Washington. They were being used as proxy by United States also. They were treated like VIPs in those days.
Now, the events of last week came at a very convenient time for the US empire. Convenient because barely 72 hours after the terrorists poked their fingers into the Indian government's eyes, leading to the ongoing escalation with Pakistan, Apple just happened to announce that it will move all its US iPhone production from China to India as soon as next year. And as if that wasn't already head-spinning enough, the escalation in Kashmir also dragged in China in a way that most people are not aware of. One of China's flagship Belt and Road Initiative projects is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, which is modernizing Pakistan's energy and transport infrastructure to integrate it into the economy of China's Xinjiang region, which is a key part of China's strategy for securing its energy supply. Now, a lot of this construction is taking place in areas that the Indian government claims as part of its territory, which has already led to a three-way diplomatic standoff. If a full-blown conflict between India and Pakistan were to break out, this would halt all CPEC construction in the contested zones and potentially ruin a key strategic goal for the Chinese government. And if that were to happen, India and China would then potentially have to take their attention away from de-dollarisation and regional integration of their economies. And long story short, the ick in BRICS would fall out bitterly with each other. Bear in mind, India and China already have a strained relationship and several border disputes of their own. If the two largest economies in the BRICS bloc were to begin fighting each other, instead of continuing their cooperation to end the unipolar era, who benefits? Now, I'm not saying that what we witnessed over the past week was a sophisticated imperial operation leveraging economic assets in Silicon Valley and secret non-state assets in Kashmir to initiate a military, economic, and diplomatic dispute intended to disrupt regional collaboration in Asia and sow chaos within the BRICS bloc, with the ultimate goal of preserving US hegemony by basically setting everyone else on fire. I'm not saying that not because the empire can't or wouldn't do such a thing or hasn't done it many times in the past, but because I can't prove it. If there's any record of such an operation, it will remain classified for so long. By the time it is declassified, everyone watching this video in April 2025 will probably be long dead. But the thing about geopolitics is that you don't need signed statements and sworn affidavits to arrive at an educated conclusion about who is probably responsible when things like this happen. All you need to do is ask and answer the question, who benefits?